Hey everybody, welcome to TAD Talk episode 3. It's March. What? I don't even know what day is it. What date is it?
It's Monday.
What date?
30th.
30th. Monday, March the 30th, 2020. I say that because we're in the middle of Corona, COVID-19. Well, I hope we're in the middle of it. I hope we're not at the beginning of it, and I guess time will tell as we look back. But today we've got four guests. We've got 4 guests, and it's actually going to be an amazing show. Excited about this one. Let me introduce them to you. First of all, from right here in Phoenix, she stars in ABBA and a bunch of other shows. But most importantly, she now is the person responsible for getting you on a plane if you're going to go to a TAD gig. So, hi, Katrina. How are you?
I'm great, Terry. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. And I saw that you put makeup on at 11 o'clock in the morning. Awesome.
You're welcome.
You look lovely.
Thank you. You don't want to see me without it, so it's fine.
The next guest is from, I think she's in Atlanta. Am I right there? You're in Atlanta?
I am. I've been for a week.
Moved from Dallas. An amazing singer, guest entertainer on many of the ships for us. And such a wonderful, positive person. It's hard to get an email or a text from her that doesn't have like 27 hearts and roses and flowers.
Yeah, I'm a little emoji crazy.
Hey, Melissa McLaughlin, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing good, thank you.
So I need to ask, is it McLaughlin or McLaughlin?
McLaughlin. It's a Flynn. I don't know when it changed, somewhere it did.
I'll try to get that right.
No worries.
And finally, these 2 people I've known for 108 years. Way back. And are you in Blackpool? You in Blackpool right now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Great friends, and such a pleasure and an honor to have them on the show. Sue Denning and Jimmy Nairn. Hi guys.
Hi Terry.
Hi Terry.
Fantastic. So Jimmy and I back in the 80s. Was it the 80s? Yeah, it was the
1880s.
Yes, the 1880s. We would go into the recording studio go through about 3 large pizzas in about 4 hours. And
a few bottles of wine.
Yes, and wine. And create these shows. And all I remember about Jimmy is saying, no, the ending's not big enough. We need a bit more. No, the ending's not big enough. We need a bit more.
A DB ending.
DB ending.
It was a dog's bollocks ending. Melissa, do you know what a dog's bollocks is?
No, I just think it's funny on your English terms. I'm not used to all of them, but I know some of them, and they give me the giggles.
Miguel, Katrina's husband, asked me to explain it, so I need to explain it's English slang. So the word bollocks, if you say, oh, that's bollocks. Well, first of all, bollocks means testicles. Okay. It's got nothing to why we use it. So if you say something is bollocks, you mean it's not very good.
Yes.
But if something is the dog's bollocks, it means it's amazing.
Oh, it's amazing. Okay,
yeah.
I like that.
Don't ask me why. There's something special about dog's bollocks, I guess.
Dogs are special.
Yes.
We don't like them at all. Not at all. I know.
So here's how we start the show off. We quick fire 2 questions, and we're going to give you the same question. So one of you will get it first. The other 2 will have time to think about it. But I want to hear your answers. So here we go. First one, Katrina.
Yes.
What was the very first concert you attended?
Oh, the very first concert was Boys to Men, and it was here in Phoenix. Jealous. Oh, it was amazing. Oh my gosh. They started the show off by singing Yesterday a cappella. It was just stunning. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And I feel old that was your first. Melissa, what was your first concert?
I believe it was Carmen. He was the Christian singer back in the day in the 80s.
Oh, wow, okay.
Really little, but he was the first one that I heard. Yeah.
Nice.
The one I can remember, yeah, the first one.
Sue and Jimmy, what was yours first concert?
Well, we've got a bit of a confrontation here because we can't make our mind up, but it was either Neil Sedaka in Scotland, and we were lucky enough to see Queen twice in Glasgow.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Amazing.
Nice.
Unbelievable.
Well, my first concert is still one of the best I've ever seen. And it was in Manchester, and it was Slade and Wizard together on the song.
Oh, now we can back now.
Yeah.
Oh, if you want originals, then Sue's first concert was George Formby.
Oh, shut up. It won't make any difference to them. That's
So we've got a bunch of people watching this live.
They will be Googling George Formby.
Who's George Formby?
No, not nice again.
Of course, we're all in quarantine, and Kelly Ann in Las Vegas is there with Johnny. She just says Jacob is now running around shouting bollocks. And Nick Davies said 2 minutes into the powerful women talk, and you're already talking about testicles.
Well, you know, you need two to make a difference.
And Anne says she's jealous she saw Queen. I think we're all jealous you saw Queen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Twice.
So the second question here, we'll start with Melissa. You've been quarantined now for a period of time.
Yeah.
What's something you're craving and you can't get?
Whataburger.
Whataburger?
Whataburger. Yeah, it's more a Texas thing, I think. But usually when I'm on ships, the first thing I do is I get back and get a taquito from Whataburger.
Right.
Those are my guilty food. I love it.
What are you craving?
Sorry.
Yeah, you too, yeah.
What do you think?
Well, first of all, isolation doesn't bother me because I did a Sunday noon in Doncaster once. So I've learned to live with isolation. But
do you realise these people will not know what you're talking about?
They will Google Doncaster and they will realise it was horrible.
In other words, he died, but not physically. The show went that way.
No, the one thing I crave at the moment is a swim. I'd love a swim.
Yeah.
Swim.
I have to say, we both swim every day, so it's really hard, that bit.
Yeah. What about you, Kat?
Well, at the moment, I'm on a diet, so I'm craving everything that I can't have that I normally have. But it's
just
good.
Don't go shopping.
Yeah, exactly. I'm isolated, so like if it's not in the house, I'm not getting it. So it's easy. It's great.
Yeah, good for you. You know, it's funny. I'm listening to this and then listening to Jimmy talk and thinking we probably need a translator on this Facebook Live read.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll do that for you. It's fine.
Thanks, Sue.
So all three people, or four people here have had amazing careers. Some of them that go back such a long way. And all of you have had such diverse careers. I know that. So I'd love to let the viewers... hold on a minute. Jan Stenning said Sue and Jimmy go to her house. I don't know how you're going to get there right now, but she just invited you to her house to swim.
Thank you very much.
We're coming, Jan.
We've got it in the diary.
So we'd like to learn a little bit about your career. We're going to show a little bit of video about you. But so let's start with Melissa. I actually know very little about you, Melissa. I know the stuff we know since you've been a guest entertainer with Tad. But tell us a little bit how you started and how you got to where you are.
I always say the reason I got started was very simple. I think it was the combination of The Little Mermaid and Sister Act coming out at the same time. I think that had a lot to do with my progression as a singer. I started out, in a little town called Sweetwater, Texas, and they held a pageant there, and part of that pageant program was to have a talent, and I sang and I won, and part of being Miss Snake Charmer over this talent event, this big deal they have every year, you get to sing in a pit of live rattlesnakes. So I sang that when I was a kid, and just continued from then on out. And it's part of my show. I talk about, kind of the history of how I grew up, and everybody thinks it's pretty crazy, and it is, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of just how I grew up. It's a part of my roots and kind of where that started. And then as soon as I got the chance to sing on the water like Ariel, I was done. I don't think I ever wanted to return after that.
It's good.
Wow.
I think I've seen, I'm actually looking away from here. I was trying to search for that video on YouTube of you singing in that Vocalist.
That's a different part of snakes, but yeah, I ended up in a big a big pit of snakes twice in my life. It was kind of interesting. I went to LA because I lived in LA for a couple years, and I did just off the cuff, just a funny little audition for a new upcoming show, and it was called Sing If You Can, and it turned into Killer Karaoke. It started out in England, I believe, as Sing As You Can, and they were doing it with celebrities to raise money. And I took a day off from work and went to go audition for it, and got on the show, and I told them, I said, I'm not afraid of snakes, so don't worry about that. And they said, just pretend that you are, so we can go ahead and make this, work. And I said, okay. And that little video got syndicated and went viral over in Asia, and it has 4 million views now.
Yeah, amazing.
Wow.
It was crazy. It was just that one day, you never know what's going to happen. So
I don't think we have it here, but we'll edit it into the final cut of this so you can see it, because it's freaky.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy is what it is.
You're not scared of snakes, but everyone else who's watching it now.
Right. Yeah. Well, if it was spiders, it'd be a different story for me. I wouldn't be in the same room, but.
So for those of you who haven't heard Melissa sing, check out this little video. You're going to love it. And how about that? What a voice. Whoa.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to move on to Kat. Katrina. A little story. I've known Katrina for about 6 years, is it, Kat?
Almost 6, yeah.
Yeah, 6 years. And I think when Anna and I, we hung out with Kat for the first time, I think it was maybe we're into our second coffee when we called her Kat. And no one had ever called her Kat before that, apparently.
Nope, never.
And now it's Kat. Everyone calls her Kat. So that's good. So Katrina is lead singer with ABBA, Fab, in a bunch of shows. She's got an amazing theatrical career before us. But Kat, why don't you tell us a little bit about your career and how you got to where you are?
Yeah, so I think I got inspired to be a singer from watching all the Disney animation movies when I was younger. Fell in love with Alan Menken's, music, and just, loved it. And then when I got into high school, someone asked me to audition for the musical there, and I had never done any musicals. I just sang the national anthem and stuff, but never really got into theater. And I auditioned, and then I got bit by the theater bug, and I just fell in love with it, and that was it. And then I went to college for a little bit for musical theater, and then I just started doing it professionally. Loved it, and then about 6 years ago, along came Terry and Ann from Tad Management. They saw me in one of the shows and asked me to be a part of ABBA Fab, and that was it. And now I've been with Tad ever since, and I love it. Got to see the world and everything. So.
And we love you. You've got a phenomenal voice, Kat.
Thank you.
She's amazing. And what I love about Kat is it doesn't matter what you ask. She says, yeah, absolutely. Just let me know. I'll do it.
Yeah.
She's amazing. But you haven't told us about your mom and your auntie.
Oh, my God.
That's a cool story.
Oh, they're going to hate me. Yeah, so that is a pretty cool story. So my mom and aunt are twins, identical twins, and they were born in Hong Kong. And when they were about 12, they were discovered. They were just performing in like bars and things like that back in the day when they were really young. And then they did these, like telecast, or what is it, telethon. And they would perform for those. And Sun Records, which is a part of RCA Records in Tokyo, saw them and flew them out to Tokyo and auditioned them and then signed them. And so they were performers with RCA Records. They were like pop stars, essentially, like young pop stars for about 4 or 5 years. And it was Japanese, obviously, and they toured everywhere. And their name was Ling Ling Long Long. That was their stage name. And I have a bunch of their paraphernalia. They've got Barbie dolls made of them and just all kinds of stuff. It's crazy. So I've been back there a few times to do the like Where Are They Now shows that they do with them, and it's pretty crazy. But yeah,
I'd love to see footage of that. That sounds so amazing.
Fun stuff. Lovely people too.
Yeah.
So, Kat, one question before I move on to Sue and Jimmy.
Yeah.
So you're newly married. You married Miguel from December '63. Congratulations.
Thank you.
But you're both in the entertainment industry. You both cruise. You both travel different shows. Do you have any advice, or do you have any? How do you do this? How do you make it work? Because Anne and I obviously traveled for years, but we were lucky, really lucky. We traveled together, and I know Sue and Jimmy are the same thing. But you're newly married, so how do you make it work? What's the secret?
The secret, honestly, is trust. And if you've got that, like, you can soar, because we love each other so much and we trust each other. So, and we're comfortable, you know, in who we are, and we're secure with ourselves. And so when you have that foundation, anything is possible. So. Hello?
It's okay. It's our other phone going. Yeah, crazy.
It's Boris telling her not to go out.
Well, he's isolated anyway. Jimmy's gone to deal with whoever that is.
Awesome. That's what life's all about. Kat, that's a great story. Awesome. Sue. Oh, I think we've lost Sue's feed. I think we've gone on the phone and lost the feed, so we'll get her back in a minute.
Okay.
We'll get her back. Oh no, she's back.
We're back. We're back.
We got you. All right.
Just chaos.
And Jimmy, Anne just asked if that was your parole officer on the phone.
No, Tim, no.
If it wasn't, it should be.
Joe Martin just jumped on the feed, Sue, and said, I first saw Sue Denning at the Metropole Hotel in Blackpool when I was a Butlins Redcoat, and she was a brilliant comedian. Love you, Sue.
Oh, bless. I love you too, darling, and Johnny too.
And Michael Paul just said he loves you as well. Everybody loves Sue.
Ah, bless you. That's nice. That's nice. I haven't made many enemies, I don't think.
Nah, not too bad.
We, so Sue and Jimmy and I known each other for a long time. It kind of comes in two phases, because there's a whole Blackpool thing, which I'm going to let Sue talk about. But then we moved to America, and there was a little period of time where we didn't see each other. And one day, December '63, we're on Celebrity Cruises for the first time. And Anne and I decided to not tell her, get on the cruise, and sit in the front row when she came on stage to greet people in the Sail Away show.
I nearly died.
She walked on stage and went, "Good evening." Oh my God. That was funny. But Sue, tell us, oh, we've lost your feed again. That's the British internet connection. It's still there.
I'm here.
Okay, here we go. So tell us about, I mean, I don't know how far back you want to go, but there was a great period of time in the 80s when you were doing Peggy Sue and all that. Tell us a little bit about that, Sue.
Well, I can go back a bit. The girls are making me feel a little bit older at the moment when they talk about Disney. For me, it goes way back in time. In fact, my first professional engagement was when I was 8 years old, and I still have the money in an envelope in the house. So there you go. But you'll have to try and figure out how old I am now. I'm not telling anybody that, though. No, you can keep that one. Yeah, and we actually, Jimmy and I, when we got married, we moved to Scotland. That's where we lived. And then we came to Blackpool. And that's where Lara was born, in Blackpool. Of course, our beautiful, talented daughter was born in Blackpool, as you know. I've known Nick since he was in the womb. In your house in Blackpool when we used to have the studio there. And James, of course, is over in Vegas with Yvette. Not too clever at the moment. He's not too well, so we wish him all the best for that. But yeah, and then we moved over here, did Peggy Sue's. We've had a very successful career. Then Jimmy went to ships, and then I went to ships and became a cruise director, some 17 years back now. But my claim to fame, girls, is not just meeting Queen. my claim to fame is being the youngest person ever to record at Abbey Road, still to this day. So that's one of your favourite places, Terry. I know that.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, Nick was there last year.
Awesome.
So, you know, we're still here, still doing what we do. I'm on my natural vacation and hoping all comes clear now and we can get back to work and do what we do.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, for anyone, I mean, I know there's loads of people watching who know you, but everybody loves Sue and Jimmy.
Yeah.
That's what you do, you know.
And we love each other.
Many enemies.
Absolutely.
Even all the years in the business, we don't have a lot of enemies.
We've always tried to help if we can, and we love you and Anne and Nick and, you know, Julia. They're great people.
No, it's great. Jimmy and I go way back to Butlins in Air. We might need a whole show on that, Jimmy.
Oh, yes. And it would be adult rated.
That means it's rude.
So
very.
So Anne has a question for you, Sue, that she wants to on air. She says, "How many pair of shoes do you have, and what's your favorite? And what's your favorite?"
Currently, around about 300 pairs of shoes, and my favourites, I think, are probably my flag shoes. My recent pair of world flags, all glittered and very nice shoes. Very nice.
Hey, Kat, you don't by any chance have close to you the O Canada shoes, do you?
I do. Would you like me to grab them?
Yeah, Sue would love them.
I'll be right back.
Well, I'm going to go and grab my flag shoes then.
Okay. Well, they're going. Right, Melissa. Oh, boy, that's funny. They're going to get their stuff.
I'm on my own. I'm left alone.
Someone just said, "I love Sue," and I can't understand a thing Jimmy's saying.
Everybody can.
It's great.
It's part of my charm, Terry.
All right, tell me when you want the big.
All right, let's see those shoes, Kat. Look at that.
Oh, they're fabulous.
Those are gorgeous.
For all the Canadians out there, those are
Oh my gosh.
And we have a show called O Canada with a couple of casts, and the ladies wear those Canadian shoes. Here's a little tidbit of information. Those shoes are made by Julia's mom.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's coming in now.
Okay. We're having a shoe war.
And there you go.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, those are awesome.
Those are awesome.
Love it.
So cool.
That's great.
They're
I
really
just
cool.
got big cowboy boots. Do I need to get those?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I've got those as well.
Yeah, we're all going to show our shoes. That's the next 30 minutes.
And said we're going to have a shoe off.
All right.
Shoe off.
Hey, there's a viewer question for you, Melissa. How many doggies do you have?
I have two right now. I have one in my lap right now.
Baby.
Who's sleeping. He's very, he's a rescue that we got. And then I have another Great Pyrenees who's right next to me. And every now and then, if you hear her moving around, that's her. She's down there. So I have two right now.
How big is the Great Pyrenees?
She's 90 pounds. She's quite big.
I love
I guess
Great
when you
Pyrenees.
guys are showing shoes, I should have showed my dog.
Nice.
Maybe I'll get her up in a minute.
Yeah, we love dogs. Kat is about to get a new dog, right?
Yes, Miguel and I are getting an English cream golden retriever.
Amazing.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Oh,
It'll be my fourth golden retriever. I love him.
oh my gosh, yeah. I follow so many on Instagram.
Yeah.
I do. So many.
And Nick and Julia just got a new dog about 2 months ago. I can't remember the make and model.
It's it's a Pomsky. It's a Pomsky.
Yeah,
Oh my Lord. Those
Pomsky. And they call him Kenny Doggins.
Oh,
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
that is so cute.
So there's a question here, Sue, from Michael Paul for you. And it says, Sue, as a cruise director, you are in the rare position to have true entertainer experience. And with that layered, legitimate experience, how do you navigate / negotiate with hotel directors and their entertainment programming. And you can say pass if you want.
It's a very smart and democratic question, that. But I've always been lucky, especially with celebrity, always lucky to have really good HDs. But I say, because let's face it, at the end of the day, they look after everything to do with the hotel. So, but because of that, you have to have a professional marriage with them. They have to have an understanding that you know what you're doing. And if I can go to them and say, come on, you need to elbow, you need to help me a little bit here, I need this, I need that. It's a professional marriage, and I've been extremely lucky with celebrity, not with other companies, but definitely with celebrity, where they are, you know, we work very, very close together. Let's face it, there's only a half a stripe difference anyway.
Half a stripe difference, I love it. No, you just ooze the celebrity brand, Sue. It's amazing. Yeah, you really.
Well, I love them very much. Yeah.
Yeah. So in TAD Talk, we have one of the same questions, which I love. I love this question, and I'm going to start off with you, Melissa. You got one place and two people you can spend the next hour with. It can be funny or emotional or whatever, but two people and one place, dead or alive, that you would like to spend the next 1 hour with. Who would it be?
If I could do this in my head, I feel like the best reality show version of a talk show, and the two people I've always wanted to have in the same room, because I respect their music so much, yet they're so different, would be Eminem and Garth Brooks.
Oh, wow.
I love just to see what they would say to each other. I would love to soak in their advice, what they want to say about their whole music, how it began. I just think the two of them are so different, yet so accomplished. It's just, I don't know, it's such a different art form altogether, but I just think it's interesting. I've always said that those two are so diverse. I'd like to get them in the same room.
So where would you want that to be?
On some form of talk show.
Okay.
Whether that's probably someone who can mediate pretty well.
We're going to invite them on here and try to do the three of you next week.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yes.
Pat, what about you?
Oh.
These two people.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, I guess I have a couple answers, because when I first thought of it, I was just thinking emotionally, like my family. So for me, you know, I would pick probably my husband and my mom, and it would be my favorite place in the world, which is Disneyland. And so that's a little emotional. But if we're talking, you know, people that I'd like to pick their brains, I would definitely say, I would have to say Walt Disney. Definitely. Would love to pick his brain and just learn more about that. And the other person would probably be Stephen Sondheim. Definitely. So the two of them for sure.
Good. And when you say Disneyland, do you mean Disneyland?
Yeah, Disneyland in California, the one that's currently closed. I mean, they're all closed, but.
Yeah. Awesome. Sue, Jimmy, what about you?
Well, I think first of all, my two are dead, which would be, I mean, obviously you think about your family and your kid. I can't split any of that up, but I would say Elvis Presley and Freddie Mercury in the one room together, probably in the cafe here in Blackpool where we go sometimes for a fry up. The Copper Kettle, there you go. Nice.
For me, it would be Elvis Presley, definitely, and Robert Burns.
Yes.
In the dressing room of Rangers Football Club. Now that is heaven.
Yeah. Yeah. Elvis wouldn't understand a word.
Not at all.
That's the best way to be.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. Well, this is a cool show. This has been a fun one. We can't believe we've been at it 30 minutes already, and we've got through so much stuff. Like I said, today's March the 30th. Is that right? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
It's a good day today, even though we're in the middle of this craziness. a couple of good things. First, as most of you know, Nick's new song was released on video today. It's called Earth, what is Earth without art? I think it's wonderful.
Beautiful.
The lyrics are just so meaningful to our industry, because our industry has just been cut off at the knees. And there's been all kind of talk about that, but the way that he's put it in. So obviously I'm a dad, I'm very proud, but it's been a good day because that gets released. But it's also a great day because Tad, we're a big family, and we stretch far and wide. But two people are very, very, very close to us is Sam and Linda.
Yes.
They both tested positive for COVID-19, both in hospital, both very, very seriously, critically ill, and they're both at home and they're both recovering. And
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's the best news ever. So today's a good day. Let's hope tomorrow gets better as well.
Every day is a good day.
Yeah, we'll get through it. We'll be here.
Absolutely. So Katrina, Melissa, Sue, and Jimmy, thank you so much for being with us today. Tomorrow we've got another one at 11 o'clock Pacific time, 7 o'clock in the UK. We've got 3 guests. I'm only going to give you one of them because I'm excited because he's one of the funniest guys I know, and we will also have a translator, and that's Mick Miller. So if you don't know Mick, go on and just Google Mick Miller Noddy. And
I hope he combs his hair.
Yeah, me too. So that's tomorrow. All 4 of you, thank you so much for being on today, and we'll see everyone tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.